Hi, so I'm just gonna make a quick video. Well, I normally say that and end up talking for like 20 minutes. I'm gonna try not to do that. I've got a topic in mind. I've got two topics in mind. The first of which is a little bit of positive news I've just received. So I've been worried about getting a job for a while because I don't want to go on the dole. I don't want to be a burden on other people who are working and paying taxes, and I don't want to necessarily be taking that off other people. So I do want to get my own job. But anyway, last night at around about 1:30 in the morning, I spontaneously decided to fill in an application. I had an email about it because I've signed into this job search site, and I got an email saying that Weatherspoons or the Edstone Miner near where I live is recruiting. So I thought, well, I'd be really happy with that because it's literally a 10-minute bus journey. So I filled in the application, found out I needed a CV. I had a half completed CV on my phone, so I finished my CV off, and then I did all the questions and stuff that they ask you on the job site, and they rang me up today. And literally it was less than 24 hours ago that I did it, maybe like 12 hours ago. No, it wasn't 12 hours ago. How far? About 18 hours ago was when I filled in the thing, and I got a phone call. I missed the first phone call, so I rang them back, and they answered, and she was like, she asked who I was, and I was like, oh, it's Steph, but obviously I used my full name, and yeah, she was like, oh, I'm just ringing in relation to a job application you applied for, and she said, are you still interested in this? I was like, yeah, of course, and she offered me an interview in a just over a week. Yeah, a week and a few days. So I've got an interview and I'm happy about it because I thought it was going to take a long time to actually be able to get a job. And I'm really glad it's this one that's fallen back. And this is actually the only one that I've that I've really seen that stood out to me because of where it is and yeah, and the type of job it is. So it's like a restaurant bar, so it'll just be doing bar work and waitering and cleaning and things like that. So I'll be really happy if I get it. I'm quite happy now because obviously getting offered the interview is the first step. Um, and I think this is quite a popular job. So but I tried to really think about what I wanted to write on the application and what I wanted to write on my CV. I tried to make it in a way that it would stand out, but also not by over exaggerating and lying. So I picked maybe some areas of my personality or some areas of my life, and I really tried to capitalize on those in writing it. And I was genuinely excited to get a job, so I made sure to write that down. And I was genuinely excited to get this job, this specific job. So I made it clear that this job stood out to me over all of the other ones that I looked at because I felt like I could identify with the criteria the most, and also that it's not far away from my house. So if I was gonna cover shifts or get to work, that wouldn't be a problem for me. So I think I don't know, that must have tilted the scale a little bit, but I'm really glad I've got an application. I'm a little bit worried about what I'm going to wear because I literally only wear these and football shorts, and which isn't necessarily going to really give a good image. So I'm probably going to have to just maybe wear some black jeans and something, or and like buy a shirt. Um, so yeah, it's pretty good. I'm happy about it. Anyway, so I was gonna make another video. I was gonna do another point to this, which I mentioned at the start, but I didn't say what the point was. So my philosophy teacher asked me to give a student's perspective on Monday and Tuesday to some Year 11 testers, tester sessions. Who I might be doing philosophy now. I also got asked to do one the other day as well, but I didn't feel prepared for it, so I sort of messed it up and I went blank minded, and I'd felt anxious beforehand anyway. So but this time it's going to be with year 11, so I've got to really not mess it up. So I'm thinking that I'm just basically going to speak out exactly what I have to say. Now I know I know what I want to say. I'll be able to say it fluently here. I was talking to myself about it earlier, and I could say it fluently then as well. It's just when it's around people and there's sort of that added pressure. So I'm just gonna basically say all the things that I would want to say, and and hope I can actually pull it off on the day. And obviously I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to prove to my teacher that it wasn't a mistake asking me to do it, because that's because like what I say is going to influence the people who, or may influence the sorts of people who maybe want to apply for the course. So it is important. Yeah. Okay. So right, I'm basically this is just sort of going to be me role playing. But also, well, I guess I can do it in a way that I'm talking to people watching this video. So saying why you should study philosophy at A level, because there might be some younger kids watching this, or maybe some people who are already in A level philosophy who maybe want a perspective of someone who's finished the course. So okay, so the reason I chose to study philosophy at A level was because I used to go to another college before I went to Prior, and it was an art college, and I didn't. I had a lot of questions about life after having some sort of weird numinous type experiences around about 4 years ago, which I know I've talked about on my channel before, and it left me with a lot of questions, and I just kept going around in circles with the answers in my head. And I think the most common one, or the first one that I asked was, who exactly am I? And that was something I got stuck up on for a while, and it gradually progressed into these more existential questions, maybe about what we might call big philosophy. I don't know, about the meaning of life, and that was something that I tried to figure out for a long time, and it almost drove me crazy. But that was a question that I needed answering, and I couldn't. In the social circles that I used to be a part of, I wasn't surrounded by like-minded people. I was surrounded by artistic people, so I could sort of relate to them in that sort of way, but not in a really intellectual type of way, which is what I needed at the time. It wasn't a want, it was a necessity. So I decided that I was going to move colleges, and I was going to study philosophy, and I was going to find answers. And I feel like I've been successful in trying to do that. A lot of the content that we've learned about has really made me think and question the way in which I see the world. And a lot of the questions that I used to ask, such as what is the meaning of life, have actually changed over the course of the 2 years. I've become less caught up on them, and I think that's because I've broadened my own perspective, and I've learned how to think about things in a different sort of way. And it's not only necessarily improved my philosophical knowledge in the sense of being able to speak about Plato's theory of the forms, or talk about the verification principle, or argue inductive arguments for the existence of God. It goes further than that. It changes your whole life, really. It changes the way in which you see the world, and the way in which you see yourself, and the way in which you interact with people. And one thing, and this could be a positive or a negative, really. One thing that I've noticed has been a big change is that I struggle to make decisions now, because I feel like I have to think everything through, and I think the pros and cons of exactly what I'm going to be doing, and I often still make impulsive decisions even after all of the thinking about it. But it's caused me to really think about my actions, and think about what I want to do with my life, and what I want to do in the future. And I don't think any other subjects really provided me with that freedom of thought like philosophy has. Like, for example, you can do other subjects, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. You can do other subjects like sociology or psychology or politics, and you get told the information. You get told what to write. You get textbook answers, and that's what you got to write about in an essay. And obviously, you probably have to. I'd say you do have to think for yourself, but in those subjects. But it's a lot more prescriptive. It's like, this is what you need to write for this sort of question, so that's what you've got to do. Whereas philosophy, you can have completely different views to other people in the class, and you can still write a decent essay with those different views, expressing it in your way, and obviously supporting it with different scholars and different academic approaches, which is necessary. You can't just completely give off your view. Like, you can't just say I think throughout the whole essay. You've got to do it in an academic manner, but you still have that freedom to think and write creative essays in a way that you can't really do in many other subjects. And obviously, I've only done fine art, which I'd say you can write creative essays in. However, you only really have to do one essay in that. And in sociology, which I attempt to write creative essays in, but it is a lot more prescriptive, so you can't get away with it as easily necessarily. You've got to meet a certain criteria, which is a lot more, I'd say, solid in comparison to philosophy. So with philosophy, writing essays, you've obviously got to meet a criteria because otherwise there'd be no way of quantifying the marks. Everyone could just get an A star for writing whatever they think. That's not the case. You do have to meet a criteria, and you meet this criteria by writing in a correct way. But the correct way is even ambiguous. It's not like you have to stick to a set structure, but it has to be logical and coherent. But the content of which you write can be very different to the person who sits next to you, and you can still both do extremely good on essays. So that's one thing I've really enjoyed about philosophy, and I actually look forward to writing certain types of philosophy essays. So if you get a generic or general question, you can really be creative about it. You can take knowledge that you've learned maybe in the first year and apply it to what seems to be a second year question, what seems to be a question focused on a second year topic, and you can extract that information and apply it, and you can make all these different synoptic links. And what I mean by that is you can link relevant material even if it doesn't seem self-evidently relevant to the question. You can do that in philosophy, and I can't really speak for all subjects, but I don't feel like I can do that in sociology. And this isn't me knocking sociology, by the way, because I have enjoyed studying it, but philosophy's definitely been my favourite subject, and I've really enjoyed doing it. It's just changed my life basically, and I'm thankful for June to do. I don't know if I should be saying my philosophy teacher's name on YouTube, but I won't give a second name. I'm thankful to her because she's kept me on board with philosophy. I struggled in the first year a lot because I was still stuck in this sort of existential obsessional thought type mindset where I was just obsessed about finding answers or ultimate answers to big questions like the meaning of life. But it's about really focusing on the microcosmic philosophical arguments and philosophical ideas, and then building up the synoptic whole from that. And the synoptic whole is, you could see it as understanding the noumenal, and the noumenal is essentially the objective world. It's the world outside of ourselves. But when we can't know this for certain, but we can get to know this by understanding or beginning to understand different subjective philosophical views about the world, because everyone's got a little piece of the truth, and then we can then share those truths together and then build up a picture, and we can actually come to some sort of almost definitive truth, but not definitive. And I think it's a really interesting subject, and it's made me think. And I'm not gonna lie, some topics I have found difficult. Some there's like a fly in here or something. Some philosophical topics are extremely difficult to get your head around, but once you get your head around them, and that's usually due to you thinking about it a lot. You've got to, like me personally, I talk to myself about them because I find that thinking out loud is a better way of sorting out my thoughts. But you can't just go into philosophy, wing it all the way through, and then just say, "Oh, I'll be all right. I'll just do what I do, and I'll just write whatever in the exam. I'll just remember it." That's not how you're going to get high grades. You've got to actually think things through for yourself, even to be able to get to a state or a level of understanding. And so you have to be willing to do that. And it may sound, you may feel like, oh, I can't bother doing that, which is sort of how I felt last year. I just wanted to do my own philosophy, but you've got to jump over that hurdle. And I'm telling you, when you do jump over that first hurdle of getting stuck on a topic, and you actually keep pushing forward and just doing your best in that topic and trying your best to understand it, you'll feel good after. You'll feel accomplished, and it is rewarding because it's difficult. it's not an easy subject. People might think, oh, philosophy, yay, we'll just think about things and it'll be an easier start at A level. But no, don't think like that. Go into this subject with an intent to succeed, and with that intent to succeed, it'll drive you through the difficult times. Because I only really adopted an intent to succeed, I'll say, at the end of the first year, when I ended up getting a C in my philosophy mock, and I was expecting something way lower. And also my teacher, she's kept me on board as well in talking to me about both the subjects and life in general. So I think it's definitely a good subject to take if you've got questions about life, and if you're interested in abstract reasoning, but also practical reasoning, because philosophy isn't all about what goes on in the mind, it's also about what goes on in reality, and how can we apply what goes on in the mind to reality. So ethics, for example, which is probably one of my favourite parts of the course, you can you learn the different theories, and then you learn how to apply them to different situations. And then once you know the theories, and once you know how they can be applied to different situations, you can then criticize the theories, and that's what's going to get you the higher marks. It's not just about regurgitating knowledge, and this is where thinking about things for yourself comes in. It's not just about regurgitating knowledge, it's also about being able to discuss. Now, you don't have to worry too much about this in the first year, because you get equal marks for discussion and explanation and knowledge. But in the second year, it becomes a lot more important. But by the end of the first year, you'll get to grips with the whole idea of the importance of discussing. And discussion is essentially, so you might state your idea, and then it's saying, well, what's right about this? What's wrong about this? Is it good? Is it bad? And it's basically just your strengths and weaknesses, but you've got to try and interweave it together. But I won't give you a whole lecture right now about how to write a good essay, because, well, I mean, you just haven't even started the course yet. But I've definitely been really on board with this, and I do feel convinced in what I'm saying. I'm not just saying this to get you on board with the course, even though I'm sure June would like me to do that, because I'm sure she'd like to have a lot of students enrolling in the course, because, well, not just for her benefit, but also for your benefits, because, and I can understand that, because philosophy will benefit your life. It'll open your mind, and it'll teach you how to think about things, and it'll teach you new things about yourself that you maybe didn't even realise. And it's definitely an interesting subject to take, and I would really recommend it. So yeah, that's all I have to say, really. So that's why I think you should take philosophy. So yeah, I don't know why I can't just do that in front of like 10 people. Like, I can do it by myself. I know exactly what I want to say about it. It's just I go blank minded when I'm in front of people. But it's just about applying it, really, isn't it? If I can do it by myself, I can do it in front of people. And if that means that I don't actually make eye contact or look at the people, then so be it. But I'll still be able to say what I want to say. Um, See, because I know I can do it. I'm just gonna have to do it, and I'm gonna have to make sure I don't mess it up again, because this time it's a lot more important that I actually get this right. So yeah, but anyway, I hope anyone who's watching this, who maybe is in secondary school still, and they're considering doing philosophy at A level, I would definitely recommend it. I hope I've provided you with some interesting information, which will maybe influence your choices as to what you want to study. And yeah, so that's pretty much all I want to talk about. So I'll end off by saying thank you for watching, and I am in an okay mood, and I am optimistic about the future right now. I'm hoping I get the job. Okay, thanks for watching.